Hello and welcome. So my name is Rahul Phatak, and in this short video, I'll be walking you over some of the quick tips and tricks you can do in our 12.2.4 when you are working with your forms menus. So basically, when you're navigating through your forms and doing some operations in your native Oracle, these tips and tricks would be useful for you in your day-to-day operations. So now let me log into the Oracle instance. I'm logging with my username, and this is my password. Go here, logging me in. All right. So this is the new screen in our 12.2.4 where I've personalized my home page. I'll be covering this in one more subsequent video, so hold on to that. So let's go into the Oracle. See how cool it is. Your new Oracle is configured like apps. So as you see on the screen, the sales order is an app. The order organizer is an app. So it just gives you that new feeling. All right. So let me start with the menu buttons which are there in front of your screen. So on the left-hand side, this is my menu underneath where I have multiple functions for different operations. So let's see. So I'm on the orders and returns menu. So this button on the left, which is as the quick tip says, expand. Once you click onto that, it will expand you all the menu items under it. And then you can go and let's go to the import orders. Click the plus sign again. It will show you all the menus under the import orders. Similarly, you can click on that, just collapse. So it will collapse whatever we just expanded. That's the use of those two buttons. The next two buttons, a lot of people may know, but these two on the bottom two buttons, as the name says, expand all. So once I click that, it will expand all the menus under all the submenus. So as you see here, the orders returns, it has expanded every menu under the orders returns. It has expanded retro billing, it has expanded purge, it has expanded import orders. So as you see, as I navigate down, everything got expanded to the lowest possible function we have. So similarly, the button below that is like collapse all. Once you click that, it goes back to the standard default navigation menu. So these are some of the buttons which you can use. I'm sure a lot of you must be aware, but it's just for those people who just don't use those. So that would be helpful to you guys. Coming back to the second tip. So next thing I'm going to show you guys how you can save your personal queries. So for example, you use a lot of forms where you input a lot of data as a query criteria and search for the results, and you get to see your results. But you use that same query criteria over and over again in your day-to-day operations. So I'll show you a tip where you can save that query criteria as a query, and next time you don't have to again enter that criteria. You can just go ahead and execute that query. So I have a shortcut here for order organizer, but you can go here this way. So let's suppose in my day-to-day operations, I query the order organizer, let's say using the order type. Let's say it's a vendor dropship order. And let's say I put in dates, for example. Let's say 30th August to let's say 4th of September. Yeah. And then leave everything blank. But typically you guys must be doing like using like customer number, salesperson, order source, and then you can put in additional fields on the line information. You might be using advanced, you might be unchecking all these. Let's say let's uncheck all those. Holds, you might be putting your hold information. And then click on the find button. So let's see what comes up. Okay, query could take a long time. You wish to continue. Let's see, yes. Let's see what comes up. All right, still thinking. Well, so it brought a let's say one order for us, and so I use this criteria more often. So what I can do is I can save this query, and let's say I want to open, I can name anything, open vendor dropship orders. Let's say this is my name for this. Let's say open vendor dropship orders. I can make it public so that not only me, but all the colleagues can use that. So I say okay, right? So what it has done is, if you see here, it has created a new query criteria called vendor dropship orders. So now using the previous query, I can go and open the order, right? Go back and just come out of it. So as I told you earlier, if I use that query criteria over and over, so I come tomorrow, I come to the order organizer. Instead of now putting in the vendor dropship type, instead of putting this and putting the order numbers and the order dates, what I can simply do is I can come here and click on public folders here, and then click on this one, just double click that one, boom, it gives you the results. So this is very, very helpful when you use the query criteria over and over. So you can save that as your queries and just come back whenever you need that. So you don't have to re-enter all the data, right? So next thing I'm going to show you is some of the folder functionality. So let's go to the line items here, just for the purpose of demonstrating that. So let's say this is the default view, right? So in my, let's say in shipping tab, all right, so I have the warehouse, I have the receiving org, but you know what? I want to see my sub inventory from where I'm shipping or receiving material. So I go folder, show field, and then select sub inventory. Boom, the sub inventory field is now visible. But what will happen? So I'll see this form, I'll work through my order. For now, the sub inventory field is visible. But once I close this, I copied the order number for reference. Once I close this form, again I come back to the order. I go to the line items and go to the shipping tab. I still see sub inventory, but if I completely close, get out of it, reopen it, put in the order number, and let's see, put in the, go back to the shipment date, see, the sub-inventory field is not visible anymore. So now, if I need to see it, I'll again need to go folder show field, select the field, which will make it visible, right? So that's the pain every time I need to go in and select that field from a view. But what I can do is, if I like the view, what I'm saying, and I can save this view. So I can save this as folder. Let's put in open fields. Let's put a name called open fields, and I'm going to make it as public again. I want my colleagues to use it, and open as default. So what's the difference here? So if I say public, if I know that most of the team uses the same fields which I use, so they can use that. And then open as default means what happens if I save it, this would be my default view whenever I open this form. So if you could see, the folder name has changed to open fields. So now let's close this again. Let's go back to the order, and we'll still see if the sub-inventory field is still visible. Control F11, I go to my line items, I go to the shipping tab, voila, the sub-inventory field is visible. So, and now this will be visible as long as I don't change my default view to open fields. So this is very, very helpful. I know a lot of users would like to see or not to see certain fields, and then they can rearrange the view. So I can change the order of the columns, I can play around a little bit, and then when I save this as a folder, so whatever the order I saved my columns in, they also get saved in your view. So this folder functionality is very, very helpful to give you your own customized views, right? That's about the folder functionality. Okay, so next thing I'm going to show you is how to use shortcuts. Okay, so let's go back to the same order, if you will, and let me query the order number. All right, so I brought the order up. Okay, looks perfect, everything looks okay. So I'm now an order entry operator, right? So typically, if I want to enter the same part as the line above it, I would go to my Excel or copy and put it here. Rather, instead of doing that, I can just press Shift and F5, right? So the shortcut key, Shift and F5. So let's see what happens. Oh, boom. So it copied the same part from the above, and it copied it onto the line. Again, I can use Shift F5, which would copy 10 from top on this line. Let's see what happens. Okay, there it did. And now it's pricing the line. Okay, and I can save it. Okay, I'm also going to show you a shortcut key for saving the data on the next line. So yeah, it's your credit check hold, that's fine. All right, so there's one more key available called Shift F6. So the difference between Shift F5 and Shift F6 is Shift F5 copies the field above to the field below where your cursor is. So Shift F5 would just copy the field, just one field from top to where your cursor is. Shift F6, and that's not enabled for all the forms, but if it's enabled, what it does is it copies the entire line above into a current line. So if this form, for example, was enabled for Shift and F6, if I would just press Shift and F6, it would have copied all the contents of the line above to the line below. Unfortunately, this form doesn't support it, so I'll use the old way. I'll just use Shift F5, and I want 10 pieces, so I'll again push Shift F5, which would price the line. And now instead of going here and clicking on this button or doing like a file and save, there's a shortcut for saving data. Maybe most of you use it. You can just hit Control and save, right? So what does Control and S do? It saves the line. So the shortcut key for saving data is Control S. Okay. So these are three widely used shortcut keys. Shift F5 to copy the field above, Shift F6 to copy the entire line, and Control S is to save the data on the form. All right. Cool. So the next thing I'm going to show you is something called form functions, right? So a lot of time people tell you, all right, go to this order management responsibility, go to shipping and release the sales orders. Okay. So now if I was a novice and I just started using Oracle applications, I would go here, look for that shipping thing. Okay, it's not here, not here, not here, right? It consumes a lot of time. Then I'll go to here, sales agreements, not there. Eventually I'll come to shipping. Wow, okay, there it is, release sales orders. Okay. Instead of doing that, you can press in the button called Control S, Control L, I'm sorry. If you can press in Control L, you see all the form functions listed as a list. You see all the form functions listed as a list on in the menu. So now you can go and find what you need. So release sales orders, okay? Release. All right, there you go. And I go and do release sales orders, okay? So it opens the same form as you would have done through a release sales orders right here. Okay. Somebody tells you, okay, ship it. So I need to find a shipping transaction form. So which I have a menu here, but I can just go and say Control L, which will bring out all the form functions, and then I would just press S and shipping transactions. SH, shipping transactions form. This form is used for ship confirming your deliveries or bid tickets. If your organization calls deliveries as bid tickets. So that's one of the widely used functionality, which is Control L, right? It gives you a list of all the form functions which are available under that responsibility, right? The other thing I want to show you is Control K, right? So what does Control K do? Control K would bring up all the functions and the associated keys with it. For example, if you're an Oracle user and okay, let's see Control S. So see, with the one I showed you, Control S for saving or committing the data. All right. Similarly, the block menu is to change blocks. Control B. Clear block is to clear the block. F7. So while you are on Oracle form, if you press F7, it would clear the block. These are the other things which you are very familiar with. F11 and Control F11. So again, F11 is a shortcut for enter query, and Control and F11 is shortcut for executing the query. For closing any form, instead of using the X arrow, I can just go and click F4, which will take away the form, right? So basically, those are little small tips and tricks on the form functions or the form functionality. So which would save you a lot of time in your day-to-day operations. So, and will be more productive, and you will be using the keyboard a lot rather than using your mouse. So, hey, thanks for watching the video. So if you have any questions, you can always shoot me an email. I'll put my email in the link below this video. All right. So thank you guys. Thanks for watching, and hope you have a great time in using these functionalities. All right. Bye-bye.